joined all of our webinars. Always take great interest in it. And so for those of you who know HomeViews well, apologies, but I am just going to give a bit of a summary up front on who we are, how we work, and then I'll jump into the new build resident data. So as I hope all of you are aware, HomeViews is the only dedicated resident review site to new homes. Our mission statement is to provide useful and trustworthy insights about residential developments to support those looking for their new home, whether you may be renting or buying. We're now the largest data set of resident reviews in the UK. We're the only company that does what we do, 37,500 resident reviews across over 2,300 developments. And we have over 2 million people a year visiting the website to help them find out more about a particular building, more about a particular brand, and even just get useful insights to help them on their journey. I think some fundamentals, it's just really important to remember because these provide a lot of validation to our data and why we can provide this level of transparency and information. So we go to great lengths beyond any other review site to verify that these are resident reviews only. So there's an automated data check which checks the electoral roll, credit card contracts, mobile phone contracts. We also, if that doesn't, most of our verification is through that automated process. If we aren't able to verify that resident through that process, we then ask them to provide proof of address. So, immediately this data set has been validated beyond any other review site. We only allow one resident to write a review every 6 months, which creates a fair and transparent view on what's going on. The reviews are at a building level, and then they aggregate up to create brand scores. But it means that the level of insight we collect is at a building level. And we collect over 18 data points, about 2/3 of which you see on the website. I'm actually going to show you and go through a number of those data points that you don't see on the website that we provide back to our partner brands, our developer and operator brands. And then the last point is we proactively source reviews. And what I mean by this is we identify new developments that fit our criteria, so that are of a certain scale, built in a certain time frame, and we proactively go and ask those residents to write reviews. One of the most consistent ways we do that is through identifying address files and sending postcards with a QR code, asking the residents to write a review. So whether we're partnered with a brand or not, we are collecting reviews across the whole new home sector, build to rent, build to sell. Obviously, that means that our data set covers pretty much every brand in this sector. So when we're saying this is what good looks like, we genuinely have data coverage across the whole sector, not just the brands that we proactively collaborate with. And I think that's really important. And it was very important to us when we started this, because we wanted to provide the best level of transparency to the consumer. But what it also means is within our data reporting and our benchmarking, we are genuinely providing industry-wide context. So a bit of the basics. Obviously, this is an example of a typical development profile page. Within here, you can see the data we collect: overall star rating, facilities, design, location, value, management scores. The reviews are very detailed. You can see that verified resident tick, that these are a private tenant. They could be an owner, they could be a shared owner. We identify whether that building is built to rent or built to sell. So there's a huge number of data points within our reviews that really allows us to zero in when we're looking at a particular resident type experience or particular sector. We're really able to segment our data because we ask so many questions. And some of the additional questions that we ask is, how old are you? And you'll see at the bottom 2 boxes here, the ones on the left are additional questions we ask built to rent tenants. The ones on the right are very relevant to today, if I could speak, are the built to sell owner additional questions. So we ask built to sell owners to rate the customer service, delivery timetable, delivery quality, and after sales care. And actually, I'm going to show you some of the brands that are highly ranking for those owner data points today, which you do not see on the website and are not publicly available. So really exciting to share that with you today, and also to share that, you know, some of these factors are factoring into our Home Views Awards, Residents' Choice Awards, which I'll talk to you about a little bit more further down the line. So we work with a real cross-section of brands. Yes, we work with a huge number of the build-to-rent sector, so probably over 50% of all operators and investors work with us, but we work with a number of build-to-sell partners and housing association partners, including Ballymore, Fairview, Hill, Lovell, A2 Dominion, Fabrica, Southern, EcoWorld, Telford, Argent, some of the biggest names in the business, Higgins Homes as well. And they are, there's two options of working with Home Views. You can be a partner of ours as a brand or an operator, or if you're not a brand or an operator, you might be an architect, you might be a consultant, you might be an agent, you can use Home Views Pro to access our database. And I'll talk to you a little bit more about that further down the line. But in terms of developers, operators, house builders, all of those brands I just showed you are using us to manage their online brand, because we believe you should only be rated by your residents, people who live in your building. They're then using us to communicate with their potential customers, potential residents, and we're also providing a level of customer insights to those brands that they can't get anywhere else because of our benchmarking ability and all the data points that we collect. And then lastly, Pro is a new data platform we launched in May, and a lot of the insights we've generated today are purely from the Pro database. So if you are interested in the resident experience as part of your research, as part of your remit, whether you're an architect or a supplier or a consultant or a construction company, you can access all of our data, the largest data set of verified resident reviews in the UK with Pro. If you're interested, you can email us, or you can click on the link, download the report, and also register your interest for Pro. That's my plug over. Hope I didn't lose anyone during that plug, but have to take the opportunity when we get a great audience like yourselves to make sure everyone is aware how you could work with us. But on to the New Build Resident Experience Report. So like I said, this is a report we've done every year for the last few years in differing detail. The data set that this report is based on is looking at data from the 1st of Jan 2022 to the 31st of May 2023. For this report, for some of the insights within it, totals around 12,000 resident reviews within that time frame. But I'm going to give you a summary of actually our total data set as well. And that kind of shows typically the split between build to rent, build to sell, and different regions in the UK. And then we'll go into some of the detailed insights from owners. So firstly, this is all available on Home Views Pro. This was accurate as of the end of May. So we're growing all the time. It's the wonderful thing about Home Views is we're constantly generating reviews on new buildings, on existing buildings. So, but as of 31st of May, 37,000 reviews, 37,460 resident reviews. As you can see, about 40% of that across the build to rent sector. We have well over 90% of all open operational build to rent buildings have reviews on Home Views, but the vast majority of our data is actually in build to sell, and that can be split up between pure housing developments, housing associations, and what we classify as build to sell schemes, which are kind of could be houses and apartments or just apartments. In terms of resident types, the majority of residents that have written reviews are private tenants. Now that's obviously because all residents in build to rent are tenants, but also a significant proportion of residents in build to sell are tenants as well. They are buy to let tenants. And in this report, we refer to those buy to let tenants as PRS tenants. You'll see in this presentation, it doesn't note it, but you'll see in the report just details of our definitions. And so we've got a significant number of owner and shared owner reviews as well. And in terms of our regional coverage, so Home Views started in London, but we now cover the whole of the UK. So actually over 50% of our coverage is now right across the country. which is fantastic to see, and that is growing and growing and growing. And if you go onto the website, you'll be able to see area guides for pretty much every county and every city across the UK now, which is great to see. So this is a comparison that we've done a number of times in the Build to Rent report, but we've split it out even further. So what this is showing is across that time frames that I mentioned to you, 1st of the 1st, 2022 to 31st of the 5th, 23, we've looked at the Build to Rent tenant experience, so tenants in Build to Rent properties. Now that Build to Rent includes kind of purpose-built, build to rent, single family housing, co-living. So it's kind of like that whole build to rent wrapper. We will be splitting out those uses in other reports further down the line. A private tenant, as I said, is effectively the buy-to-let tenant. So tenants living in new homes who are renting off private landlords in new homes developments. And then you have owners, and then you have shared owners. Now, what this shows is a completely consistent theme we've seen over 4 years now since we founded Home Views, which is build to rent tenants are the happiest residents in new homes. Now, the major factors that have a huge impact on their experience is management is number one. Build to rent buildings tend to be managed incredibly proactively, and that in itself has a huge impact on the rest of the resident experience. But also as a tenant, they don't often have a lot of the other factors that owners or shared owners have to face. So whether it be service charges or snagging or delays of delivery. So what this is showing you is that build to rent tenants are the happiest residents in new homes. After that, private tenants within new homes, so with a private landlord, with a buy-to-let landlord, are the second happiest. Now, one thing we were always challenged on at Home Views is, well, wouldn't owners always write a review with rose-tinted glasses? This proves that they don't. And what we actually see is that private tenants who really don't have any vested interest to talk more positively about their experience do have a better experience overall than owners. And one of the big things you'll see here is, the management score is a lot higher. Now, obviously, the owners are having to deal with that service charge or that management company or the lack of help or, whatever issues. And there've been it's been a pretty tricky couple of years with COVID, with cladding, that would impact owners specifically. But what we see is tenants are basically getting, private tenants are getting the benefit of living in these lovely new homes, but without any of the strings attached. And then owners versus shared owners, owners overall have a better experience. Actually, some of the data that really impacts the owner experience over and above shared owners is that after sales care and customer service scores are a lot higher. That's not shown here, but they're a lot higher. And that does have an overall impact of, just, yes, there have been issues, but we're able to overcome that through good customer service and after sales care, which shared owners struggle with. But as an overall picture, you can see here that, renting in new homes is overall a better experience than owning at the moment. And the key areas of issue are management. And then that has a kind of an overall impact on the rest of the experience. Facilities, obviously being part of that and intertwined with service charges as well. So we're looking at the owner experience over time. In last year's report, we did this, and we saw that as our coverage has increased nationally, there has been a small decline in ratings over the last few years. So obviously we moved from just London and we moved to sort of the wider regions, and we also moved specifically into housing development, whereas before, because we were mainly in urban areas, we were capturing a lot of apartment focused schemes. But the most significant areas of decline have been management and facilities, and this is just for owners within new homes. And I think that is also that's definitely been impacted by the coverage and moving out into the regions and to different types of stock. And but it's also, I think, recognizing some of the challenges that the whole industry and residents have been facing within this time frame. Lockdown, the cladding crisis, raising cost of living. And actually, when we look at this trend in just 2022 to 2023, we've seen that carry on as well. Interestingly, build to rent saw a drop, first drop we've ever seen in ratings in 2022, albeit a smaller drop in terms of percentages, but there was, with everything the world and residents are facing at the moment, build to sell and build to rent have definitely seen challenges in the last couple of years across every star rating. We look here at the top rated regions by owners, and we're looking at the overall star rating, which is highlighted in yellow, which we've used as the main sort of barometer. West Midlands performing really well from an owner perspective, with the average score of 4.45 overall star rating for developments. Scotland faring really well as well, and that's not just for build to sell. We're actually seeing that in build to rent on the kind of limited amount of stock that's available in Scotland. But I think what's really interesting to see here is the overall resident experience in new homes is really positive overall. If you think these scores are out of 5, and London there in eighth place. But overall, there's a really positive message, and you can see here, and actually in the report goes into a little more detail, the breakdown of all the other ratings at a regional level. This is exactly the sort of graph that we've created from HomeViews Pro, that people can do their own research on and really understand trends at a regional level for build to sell or build to rent, or for owners or for shared owners. But yeah, great, really good showing there for Midlands and the northern parts of the UK. As well. So just before, and I've been rattling through this, so I do hope that if you have any questions, please share. I haven't got any yet, but I'm just about to go into some of the top rated developers, house builders and housing associations for residents, and based on verified resident reviews. This is all a prelim to a very exciting event. So for the first time ever, HomeViews is going to be hosting the HomeViews Residents' Choice Awards as a standalone event. The build to rent element of this award has always been part of the UKA conference. Now we're very much working with the UKA on our new Residents' Choice Awards, along with Build to Rent News, who are our media partner for Build to Rent. But this is going to be an event that will be in February 2024. Seems like a long way away, but it will creep up. And we will be recognising the top rated Build to Rent and Build to Sell developers, operators and buildings. No entry forms, no judging panels, no sponsorship requirements. The winners are purely based on verified resident reviews. And this is why these reviews are awards are so unique. And what I'm about to give you a snapshot on is some of the top rated house builders and developers for some of the key metrics in resident satisfaction for those awards. So firstly, so this is as of June, so these may well change moving forward. But the top rated developers, so we've taken a slice of the overall star ratings and some custom service and after sales care ratings. And we've based this purely on verified resident reviews. And there needs to be a certain number across a certain number of developments to qualify. But this is, as of June 2023, the top 10 developers and house builders for overall ratings. We've got Carla, Story, Fairview, the Hill Group, Bloor Homes, Morris Homes, Stuart Mill, Telford, Persimmon Homes and Barratt Homes. A real cross-section of organisations there from different regions in the UK, building different style of stock. But congratulations to everyone that's currently highly rated on that list. The next is top rated for customer service purely by owners. So as you saw on that additional questions that we ask owners to rate customer service. Obviously we're able to then verify that they're an owner. So the top rated developers for customer service so far in 2023 are here. So the Hill Group, #1, fantastic. They actually are way ahead in the ratings at the moment. The Hill Group have done a fantastic job within the last few years. Carla Homes, 2nd, Fairview New Homes, 3rd, Bloor Homes, Barratt, Morris Homes, Telford Homes, Story Homes, Barratt London specifically, and Stuart Milne Homes. So some similar, as you would expect, for customer service is a huge part of the owner experience. So top-rated developers tend to align with top-rated for customer service as well. The next is a really interesting stat we collect is build quality. Top-rated developers and house builders for build quality based off verified owner reviews only. And again, this is just accurate as of June 23. So Carla Homes, Bloor Homes, and Fairview, all in the top 3, performing really well across all of those metrics, with Story Homes, Telford, Barratt, Bellway, Morris. Oh, sorry, go back to that. No, I'm going, I've just absolutely ruined all the surprises coming up. Here we go, build quality. So again, what I'd like to stress about this is for any cynics out there, the majority of these brands we do not work with collaboratively at HomeViews. We obviously have a huge number of reviews across their portfolios because we proactively go and get reviews. But the majority of all of these brands, HomeViews has no commercial arrangement with. Some that we do partner with us to help us go and get more reviews. They use our content in their marketing. But this is a perfect example of where HomeViews is really providing genuine transparency across the sector, regardless of whether brands are proactively working with us or not. But congratulations again to everyone. Build quality is such a huge part of the owner experience. It has a huge impact on, particularly the snagging process. And some of the key issues around quality, actually, just for interest, is particularly in housing, it's not just about the quality of the homes, it's the gardens. The gardens are a real bugbear for residents. I think it's something that particularly in housing schemes that kind of gets slightly forgotten about. And within a housing development, obviously, that land has been worked on by lots of heavy machinery, and what we find is we've seen consistently in the last few years is that in housing schemes, gardens are often brought up as an issue. But in general, build quality is actually really highly rated across the board as well. So we also ask, if you're an owner, we ask if you're a first-time buyer as well. So these are the brands that are top rated by first-time buyers. Now, previously, actually, we were able to segment this geographically, and Fairview New Homes were the #1 rated developer by first-time buyers in London. But this is looking at a national average for first-time buyers and the top-rated companies by first-time buyers. Story, Carla, Bloor, Fairview, Stuart Milne, Telford, Persimmon, Redrow, Morris, and Lovell Homes. Congratulations, everyone. Obviously, it's a really difficult market for first-time buyers at the moment, with Help to Buy not available and mortgage rates with where they are. But these brands have been doing a great job over the last couple of years to make sure they're providing a top-class service for their first-time buyers. What we hear back from a lot of the first-time buyers in their reviews is it's all about communication with first-time buyers. Obviously, it's the largest decision you're ever going to make. It's the first time you've ever done it, buying a home. And the brands that really get it right really hold the hand of first-time buyers throughout the process. Explain what leasehold is versus freehold. Do I need to get a snagging surveyor? All of this kind of really proactive hand-holding. And I think when a brand is obviously very used to working with a first-time buyer, they have a lot, that process is kind of ingrained and in place. But it makes a huge difference. Obviously, sounds like actually a lot more work has to go into nurturing a first-time buyer deal. because there is that whole education process. But these are the brands based on our data that have been really excelling at providing that experience, or the best possible experience. And lastly, I think lastly, we looked at the top rated housing associations by shared owners. Now, sadly, we have some metrics around the number of verified shared owner reviews to qualify to be in the top 10 and to ultimately win a Residents' Choice Award. And there were limited brands that qualified for that, because we collect reviews all the way through the year. So we would hope that by the end of this year, we'll have a top 10 stack. But at the moment, L&Q are quite far out in front from ratings from shared owners, which is fantastic to see. One of the biggest HAs and members of the G15 delivering a great experience for their shared owners. But a very, very close second is Network Homes, which is a brilliant effort, some fantastic reviews from their shared owners across their portfolio in London. So that's it from me in terms of the top rated. I've really just given a snapshot of what you're all going to be able to read and peruse over in the New Build Resident Experience Report. Just as a reminder, this every month we're doing reports and webinars, but mostly they are private to our HomeViews Pro partners or the brands that we partner with through HomeViews partnerships. So if you would like to find out more about how you could get access to more of these insights, more of our reports, more of our webinars, then please do make an inquiry. You'll have contact details in the email you'll receive. The New Build Resident Experience Report, if you are interested in, or please reach out to me directly, Rory at homeviews.com, or my colleague Ella at homeviews.com. We do have a question, which I'm very thankful for, because I've motored through that in half an hour. Well, it's not actually a question, it's a statement. Rosie Ashton, good to see Story Homes doing so well. A Carlisle born and bred company. Well, congratulations, Story Homes does do fantastically well. And I think actually it's a great example of where one of the reasons we set up HomeViews was to really show and illustrate the brands that are doing a fantastic job from a resident perspective, no matter how big you are, no matter how big your marketing budget is. And I think, through some of this data, you'll see some smaller scale, more local brands. Another brand that's done really well historically is Davidson's Homes as well. And I think that's what HomeViews is all about, really. It doesn't matter how big you are or how many developments you have. If you're delivering a fantastic experience and we're getting consistent review collection coming in, you can be recognized amongst all of the big brands for just delivering a great resident experience, and also the industry can learn from that. Like, what is it about these smaller brands? What are they doing to deliver a better resident experience? That's the only question I've got. So unless I get any more, everyone, you're going to get half an hour back into your day. You'll also get an email straight after this to read the report. So maybe you can spend time reading the report. Please send any questions or comments you have back to us. We always love hearing feedback. But yeah, I'm gonna gone on questions. Great to see you all. Thank you so much for joining, and we will see you at the next event. Take care. Bye-bye.